Maya had always been the softer one between the two sisters, gentle-spoken, careful with every step she took, and endlessly patient. At 17, she still carried the kind of innocence that made people instinctively want to protect her. But the one person she always wished would protect her, her own sister Jane, was the very person who treated her like she was a burden. Their mother had passed away 2 years ago, leaving the house quieter, colder, and heavier. At first, both girls felt lost. They cried together, slept in the same bed for weeks, held each other when the loneliness became too loud. But as time passed, something in Jane changed. She grew sharper, distant, and irritated by almost everything Maya did. "You always need help." Jane would snap any time Maya asked a question. "You think you're so perfect. I don't want to hear your voice right now." The painful part wasn't the words. It was that Maya didn't understand why Jane hated her. They lived with their father, who worked long hours and barely noticed the tension in the house. Whenever Maya tried to tell him how Jane treated her, he brushed it off like typical sibling arguments. But Maya knew the difference. This wasn't a fight between sisters. This was hostility, cold and unexplained. One winter evening, Maya prepared tea for both of them. She placed a cup in front of Jane, hoping maybe this small gesture would ease the distance. Jane didn't take it. Instead, she pushed the cup away so hard it nearly fell. "I said I don't want anything from you. Stop pretending." Maya stood there quietly, swallowing the hurt. "I wasn't pretending. I just thought you might like something warm." "Well, you thought wrong. Just leave me alone." Maya stepped back, heart aching. She couldn't understand why Jane was like this. Why she hated her so deeply. Why everything Maya did was wrong. Later that night, Maya overheard Jane talking on the phone in the hallway. Her voice sharp and angry. "She gets all of Dad's attention," she whispered harshly. "Mom used to adore her more than me. Don't tell me she's just innocent, she's fake. Everyone falls for her. I'm sick of it." Maya froze, so that was it. Jane resented her for being loved. That night, Maya lay awake, staring at the ceiling, tears silently soaking into her pillow. She never tried to steal affection. She never wanted to be the center of anything. But somehow, her sister saw her presence as competition. As the months passed, Jane's hatred became more open. She ignored Maya when she spoke, rolled her eyes at everything she did, and occasionally muttered insults under her breath. She even stopped eating at the same table. Their father, too exhausted from work and grief, never noticed the widening distance between his daughters. But the world outside the house saw something different. At school, Maya excelled. Her teachers praised her essays, her drawings, her kindness. She had a few close friends who admired her resilience. Jane saw all of this, and it only fueled her bitterness. One afternoon, Jane stormed into Maya's room without knocking. "You think everyone loves you because you're some kind of angel, don't you?" She spat. Maya looked up from her homework, startled. "Jane, I've never tried to make anyone choose between us. Oh, stop acting innocent. You're always smiling, always being the good daughter, while I'm the one who gets blamed for everything." Maya closed her notebook quietly. "I'm not your enemy." Jane stepped closer. "But you ruin everything." Just by existing. Words hit hard, harder than anything Jane had ever said before. Maya waited until Jane left, then buried her face in her hands. She knew her sister was hurting too. Losing their mother had broken all of them in different ways. But why did that pain turn into hatred toward her? She didn't want revenge. She didn't want to fight. She just wanted her sister back. But she didn't know that the path she was about to walk would lead her into a storm that would change everything. A storm that would turn quiet sisterly tension into a deep emotional war, and eventually to a powerful moment of truth that neither of them could escape. The tension between Maya and Jane began to seep into every corner of their daily lives. The smallest moments turned into quiet battles. Who would use the bathroom first? Who would wash the dishes? Who would sit beside their father during dinner? Every interaction carried an unspoken bitterness. At school, Maya tried to stay focused, but she carried the weight of home on her shoulders. She often sat in class staring at her notes without seeing the words. Her friends noticed something was wrong, especially Lila, who had been close to Maya since 7th grade. "Maya, you look exhausted," Lila said one morning as they walked down the hallway. Maya forced a small smile. "Just not sleeping well. Is it Jane again?" Lila asked softly. Maya hesitated, then nodded. She didn't like talking about her family, but she trusted Lila. "She's getting worse. I don't know what to do." Lila frowned sympathetically. "She's hurting too, you know. Some people don't know how to handle grief. They break differently." "I know," Maya whispered, "but I'm tired, Lila. So tired of being the one she takes it out on." That afternoon, when Maya returned home, she found Jane sitting on the couch scrolling through her phone. The atmosphere was thick, like always. Maya quietly walked toward her room, hoping to avoid another argument, but Jane's voice sliced through the silence. "You're late." Maya stopped. "School finished late today. I had to stay for an art meeting." Of course, Jane scoffed. Little perfect Maya staying after school to impress everyone. "That's not what happened," Maya said softly. Jane stood up abruptly. "You always defend yourself. You always pretend you're sweet and innocent, but everyone knows you're fake." Maya looked at her sister, the sister she once trusted more than anyone. "Why do you hate me so much?" she asked quietly. Jane froze for the first time. There was a crack, a flicker of emotion in her eyes, but it vanished in seconds. "I don't hate you," Jane muttered, her voice hardening. "I just don't trust you." Maya swallowed. "Why?" Jane didn't answer. Instead, she stormed into her room, slamming the door. That night their father returned home visibly stressed. Work was becoming more difficult and he was constantly tired. Maya decided to help by preparing dinner early. When she finished cooking, she walked toward Jane's room to call her. Before she could knock, she heard Jane talking again, her voice low but filled with anger. "I can't stand her. She acts like she's the victim. Everyone believes her. Even Dad does. I'm the one who's always left behind." Maya's heart cracked a little more. She stepped away silently, returning downstairs so her sister wouldn't know she heard. She placed the food on the table and sat quietly until her father came home during dinner. Jane refused to eat the meal Maya prepared. "It's fine," she said coldly. "I'm not hungry." Her father gave her a tired look but said nothing. He had no energy to deal with their fights. Instead, he patted Maya's hand gently, unaware of the pain brewing inside both of his daughters. Later that week, things escalated. It was raining heavily when Maya returned from school. She stepped inside, dripping wet, only to find Jane standing near the staircase with an expression that made Maya's stomach twist. "You took my notebook," Jane said sharply. Maya blinked in confusion. "What? I didn't touch anything of yours. Don't lie to me." Jane stepped closer. "It's not in my room. I know you took it." "I didn't," Maya said, trembling slightly. She hated confrontation more than anything. Jane shoved her shoulder roughly. "Stop pretending." The force sent Maya stumbling backward. She caught herself, her breath shaking. "Jane, stop, please." Their father entered the hallway at that exact moment, surprised to see the scene. "What's going on here?" Before Maya could speak, Jane pointed dramatically. "Dad, she took my notebook and now she's lying about it." Maya stared at her in shock. "Dad, I didn't." But her father, overwhelmed from work, rubbed his forehead and sighed. "Girls, please. I don't have the energy for this. Jane, check again." Maya, stop provoking her." Maya felt the words like a slap. She wasn't provoking anyone, but once again. Her voice went unheard. Jane smirked slightly before walking away. Maya stood alone in the hallway, tears burning behind her eyes. She wondered how a sister she loved so deeply could become someone who enjoyed seeing her hurt that night. She sat by the window watching the rain streak down the glass. She hugged her knees to her chest and whispered to the empty room, "Why is she doing this to me, Mom? What did I do wrong?" But the room stayed silent. Her mother wasn't there to give answers. Her father didn't understand, and her sister seemed determined to break her. But fate was slowly weaving something else, cracks that would deepen, truth that would surface, and a turning point that neither Maya nor Jane could ever run from. Weeks passed, and the storm inside the house only grew heavier. Maya became quieter, moving through the house like a shadow. She tried to keep peace, tried to avoid Jane, tried to smile at her father so he wouldn't worry, but inside she was slowly falling apart. Jane, on the other hand, was growing colder by the day. Every time Maya entered a room, Jane left it. Every time Maya tried to help, Jane shut her down. It was as if Jane had built a wall so high that even sunlight couldn't reach her. But something soon happened that neither sister saw coming. One afternoon, Maya returned from school earlier than usual. As she walked inside, she heard her father's voice drifting from the living room, but it wasn't calm like usual. It was shaky, almost defeated. "I don't know what to do anymore," said quietly. Maya froze. A familiar voice replied, "Their Aunt Clara." Her mother's sister. "She's hurting, Daniel." Aunt Clara said gently, "Both of them are. But Jane, she's breaking herself by pushing everyone away." Maya pressed a hand to her mouth. She didn't want to eavesdrop, but her heart felt pulled toward their conversation. Her father sighed heavily. "I feel like I've failed. After my wife died, I lost control of everything. Jane resents me. Maya is suffering because I can't keep the peace." "Jane isn't angry at Maya," Aunt Clara said softly. "She's angry at loss." "Then why does she hate her sister so much?" There was a pause. Then Aunt Clara whispered, "Because she believes Maya was the favorite." Maya's breath caught. Her father sounded stunned. "What? That's not true at all." "To you? Maybe not," Aunt Clara replied. "But to a hurting child, everything feels unfair, especially when she compares herself to a sister who is kind, talented, good at school. After their mother passed, people always said, 'Poor Maya. She's so gentle, so fragile.' Jane felt invisible, unseen, unloved. Maya felt her chest tighten painfully, invisible, unseen, unloved. Jane, the girl who fought everything, who broke things, who yelled and pushed, she was the one feeling abandoned." Aunt Clara continued, "Jane never learned how to express her pain. So instead, she lashes out at the one person she thinks will never leave her, Maya's." Eyes filled with tears. Jane wasn't her enemy. Jane was drowning, and hurting Maya was her way of gasping for air. At that exact moment, Jane appeared at the top of the stairs. Her eyes were red. She had heard everything too. The sisters stared at each other. For once, Jane didn't look angry. She looked small, afraid, exposed. Before Maya could speak, Jane turned and ran to her room, slamming the door with a trembling hand. Maya stepped forward, wanting to go after her. But her father called her gently. "Maya, come here." She wiped her eyes quickly and entered the living room. Her father opened his arms, and she collapsed into them like she had done when she was little. "I'm sorry," he whispered into her hair. "I'm sorry you've had to carry so much. I should have protected you better." Maya shook her head. "Dad, Jane doesn't hate me. She just feels alone." Her father pulled back to look at her. "Sweetheart, understanding her pain doesn't mean you have to accept being hurt." "I know," Maya whispered. "But she needs help. Real help." That night, the house was heavy with emotions, like a storm waiting to break. Maya paced back and forth in her room, battling between fear and courage. Finally, she took a deep breath and approached Jane's door. "Jane," she whispered, "can I come in?" There was no answer, but the door wasn't locked. She slowly pushed it open. Jane sat on the edge of her bed, knees pulled to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Seeing her sister like that, not angry, not prideful, but shattered, made Maya's throat tighten. Maya stepped inside silently and sat beside her. For a long moment, they didn't speak. The room was filled with their shared grief. Then Jane choked out, "Why are you here? Why do you still care?" Maya swallowed the lump in her throat. "Because you're my sister." Jane let out a broken laugh. "I've treated you horribly. You should hate me." "I don't," Maya whispered. Jane covered her face. "I thought Mom loved you more. I thought you replaced me. I thought I wasn't enough." Maya's eyes widened in shock. "Jane, Mom loved you. So much." "No, she didn't," Jane whispered bitterly. "She was always proud of you. You were quiet, smart, good. I was loud and difficult. I felt like a burden." Maya took her hand gently. "You were never a burden. You were her fighter. Her brave one." Jane sobbed harder, leaning into Maya like she was holding on for life. For the first time in 2 years. They cried together, not apart, not against each other. But for each other, and in that moment, something shifted. Not forgiveness, not healing, not yet, but the very first step toward both. Morning sunlight seeped through the curtains, warming the small space between the sisters. They had cried together for nearly an hour, and though nothing was magically fixed, something in the air felt softer, like the beginning of healing. Maya woke up early, her eyes puffy, but her heart strangely lighter. She looked at Jane, who was still sleeping with her face pressed against the pillow, her lashes wet from dried tears. For the first time in a long time, she didn't look angry. She looked like the girl Maya remembered from childhood, the one who used to hold her hand when crossing the street, the one who used to braid her hair, the one who once promised they'd grow old together. But life had changed them. Grief had twisted Jane. Loneliness had surrounded her, and Maya had been too crushed to see through the cracks that morning. While Jane slept, Maya walked to the kitchen, where her father was making tea. He looked exhausted. But when he saw Maya, his expression softened. "How is she?" he asked cautiously. "She's hurting," Maya replied gently, "but I think she's ready to try." Her father closed his eyes in relief. "I want to fix things, Maya. I just don't know how." "Maybe we don't fix everything," she said. "Maybe we start by listening." Later that day, Jane stepped into the kitchen quietly. Her eyes were swollen, her voice timid. "Dad, can we talk?" Her father nearly dropped the teacup. Jane sat down, keeping distance, but not running away like she usually did. She looked at her hands, twisting her fingers nervously. "I haven't been fair," she whispered. "To you, to Maya, to myself. I was angry at Mom for leaving. I was angry at the world. And I blamed Maya because she reminded me of everything I lost." Her father reached forward, hesitated, then gently took her hand. "Jane, grief doesn't make you a bad person," he said softly. "But hurting others to hide your pain, that's where we need to be stronger." Jane's lip trembled. "I'm trying. I want to get better." "That's enough," he said. The family talked for a long time, not perfectly, not without tears, but honestly. For the first time in 2 years. They sat at the same table, without shouting or silence curling between them like a threat. But healing wasn't simple. Days passed. Some were peaceful, some were tense. Jane still snapped sometimes. Maya still flinched at her sister's sudden change in tone. Their father tried hard, maybe too hard, to keep balance. But something had changed forever. They were trying, and effort has a power that anger never will. One evening, Jane entered Maya's room and stood awkwardly in the doorway. "Maya, can I ask you something?" Maya looked up from her homework. "Yeah," Jane swallowed nervously. "Do you hate me?" Maya blinked. "No, even after everything I did." Maya closed her notebook and shifted to face her sister fully. "I hated how you treated me. I hated how alone you made me feel. But I never hated you." Tears instantly filled Jane's eyes. "I don't deserve you," she whispered. Maya reached out and squeezed her hand. "Then become someone who does." That one sentence changed something in Jane. From that day on, she tried harder, apologizing when she messed up, helping Maya with chores, sitting with her father during dinner instead of locking herself in her room. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Months passed. Life steadied. One sunny afternoon, while looking through an old box of photos, Maya found a picture of her mother holding both girls when they were toddlers. Their mother looked radiant, her arms wrapped tightly around them as if she feared time itself might steal them away. Maya carried the photo to Jane. "Do you remember this?" she asked. Jane stared at it for a long time. Her eyes softened. "She loved us," Jane whispered. "Equally, completely." Maya nodded. "Yes." Jane exhaled shakily and wrapped her arms around Maya, not tightly, not desperately, but as someone finally understanding the value of what she almost threw away. "I'm sorry," Jane whispered into Maya's shoulder. "For everything. I promise. I'll be better." Maya hugged her back, tears in her eyes. "And I'll be here," she whispered, because that was the truth. Forgiveness isn't pretending nothing happened. It's choosing to rise above what tried to break you. And Maya did just that. Her kindness became her strength. Her patience became her shield. Her hope became her revenge, a quiet, powerful revenge against the pain that tried to destroy her family. This wasn't a story of battles or shouting or punishment. It was a story of healing. A story where the softest person won. A story where love outshamed hatred and understanding defeated anger. A story where Maya's greatest revenge was bringing back the family she almost lost.